I'm blind taste testing 96 different branded lagers that I've picked up locally to me. I'm currently in round 1, which is the group stage. The beers have all been divided into groups of 6, and I'm blind taste testing them and putting 2 through from each group. In this video, we're looking at the last 2 groups in round 1, that's group O and P. We're on the penultimate group of the first round, group O, and I'm going to look straight away at A. Now, A has been quite active on its head, and on the colour style, I mean, that is the palest one I've seen yet. There's no colour to it. I mean, it's the lightest colour ever. First thoughts is rice beer, so a Japanese one, but that is very pale, right? It's been quite active on the head, as said, on the nose. Nothing. What? There is barely anything on that nose. I mean, wet cardboard? No, actually, to be honest, it smells, this is a weird one, like freshly made tarmac in the distance blowing down the road. You get that smell of tarmac. Well, okay. Not sure I'm looking forward to this one. Let's give it a go. Inoffensive in taste, but that is so thin and tasteless. There's nothing to it at all. I mean, there's no body, no carbonation comes through, there's no taste. I mean, it's inoffensive because there's nothing there to offend anyone. On to B, which compared to A, the colour on it is, I mean, the darkest that we've got on here. So B, looks like good carbonation rising up. Oh, that's got a big malt base, but a big sweetness to it. I'm immediately offhand thinking it's a Polish lager, mainly because the malt and the sweetness that they tend to do. Okay, let's get in for the taste. It's I said malty sweet nose. Ooh, different in taste than I was expecting. Sweetness still comes through. Not much carbonation, so it's not very carbonated as it rolls over. Quite a good body, so a medium body, going on to strong at that stage. It's yeah. Interesting, deceptive with what I was perhaps expecting. I should have learned to stop guessing by now what it may be. But yeah, a good malt, not so sweet on the taste, but good sweetness on the nose and good malt body. On to C now. This is just back to our normal sort of, I'd say, pale to golden colour. Nose-wise, it's very clean. I'm picking up a slight malt element to it, but it's just very clean. Not much to it overall. Okay, let's get in for a taste of it. Okay, there's more on the taste, but that is very, there's a carbonation that rolls over, not a huge carbonation. It's very light. There's not sweetness to it. I mean, it's very similar in a sense to A. And if I'm thinking that's a rice lager, I'm thinking this is a rice lager as well, maybe. They're very similar, although this is more colour. But this is a bit more cleaner. So it's clean, it has a bit of taste, not much carbonation. On to D. D is got a good, moving on to sort of golden body color. Has a big maltiness to it. Yep, that's a big malt hit. It had a slight, what I would say, peach nose to it as well. But yeah, not massive, tiny little peach amount to it. Let's get in and taste this. Massive carbonation, massive carbonation on that. That's huge carbonation, rolling straight over, carrying a malt flavor over as well, but it's not a massive appealing malt note that it's bringing over. I just think that's too carbonated. For me, that's a bit too carbonated, which detracts from the flavors that it could be given. It's hard to sort of determine its body with the amount of carbonation on there, and then it does impact the flavors. I'm getting a malt that rolls over with that carbonation, but not getting the rest of the flavors, unfortunately, from it. On to E. E is pale in color, very much like over A here, but it does actually have a bit of a color to it, at least. Nose-wise, it's all random how everything's been put into the groups. Blinded, I don't know what is what. By any chance, I may have got 3 rice lagers in one here. 3 rice lagers in one group. I'm not even sure I had 3 rice lagers, perhaps out the 96. Let's get in and have a taste of this. Oh, interesting, interesting. It has a low carbonation to it, a medium body. I'm getting a slight, I don't want to say burnt edge to it, but along those lines, it's more biscuity, toast. That's compared to the rest in this group, that's actually doing quite well in taste sense. It is quite drying though. That is quite drying on the end, which definitely makes me think that's probably Japanese rice. I'm not too sure about A and C on that note, but that one definitely feels like it. And on to E. Let's have a look at this one. A nice color to it. We're looking at going, pale to golden. It's not at the golden level. It's kept its head quite well on the nose. Oh, okay. Malty, but very sweet malt. That is very, very sweet. Okay, let's get in on the taste of this one. Ooh. That is different. That is very, very different. I can't work out what potential hop is in that. I'm not sure if that is potentially one of the crafty ones. There is something coming off it. There's a grassy element along with a hop or fruit of some sort that's coming through. It's not huge in carbonation, and it actually has quite a big body on that. It doesn't feel that thin, but it is also quite drying on the tongue. So it does dry out the tongue quite a bit as you go through with it. I'm gonna, as usual, go through, have a taste off camera, and then I'll come back and reveal my top 2. time for me to reveal the two that I'm going to put through in this group. It was actually quite a difficult group, apart from A here, which I'm completely discounting. Rubbish, not putting that through. It's not a beer, I don't know what it is. It's just water with a malt waved over it. But between the rest, it was slightly difficult. I wouldn't say they were anywhere outstanding, but I would also say that the difference between them was quite, I mean, they were different between them all. Oh, it'd be good if I got my words out properly here. So in second place, I'm putting through E. E is my second place. First place goes to F. I don't know what it was. It was just different. And that fruitiness that had made it stand out. Now, whether I actually like that in the long term or not, for the other rounds, we'll find out. But it certainly stood out. And I'm going to be putting that through as my number one. 90 beers down, the final 6 to go through. This is the final group. This is Group P on round 1. Let's get started with A. All right, so I'm too busy getting straight in. I'm ignoring what I'm supposed to. So looking at the colour, that is a, I would say we're looking at straw to palish colour. Nose-wise though, it had a decent malt level. So yeah, that's a nice malt level. I would say based off that, we're looking at like a Euro lager. All right, let's get in for a taste. Yeah, decent body. No carbonation coming through, unfortunately, on that. So, I mean, that's not always a negative, but there's no true carbonation rolling over the tongue. Malt, end flavour. I mean, that is a solid beer. Yeah, solid lager. On to B. B is definitely paler. We're looking at probably, well, quite a pale colour on this one. Nose-wise. Oh, it's giving off a sort of citrus nose. I was not expecting that at all. I haven't by accident mixed in a citrus pale ale in here, have I? Okay, yeah, just the citrus nose, no malt, no sweetness into the taste. Medium carbonation on that, which is quite good, but body feels quite thin, quite drying on the tongue as well. The final taste, it just dries it. Otherwise, I wouldn't say much of the nose comes through in the flavour. It's there a bit, but it's a very short tasting note. So it's very short, the taste, then it goes, and then it, yeah, just leaves the drying taste on the end. I mean, 2 that are okay. The end, I know it sounds weird, thinking all the way back to A. A was terrible. This could be one of the better groups. Thankfully, as I said, it finished better than it started. Now we're on to C. This again is pale. That's a more straw colour. It looks the lightest out of all of these. The head has left a bit of a weird bubble formation on the glass there, and I can see a sort of line where the bubbles were, so it was obviously quite high. Nose-wise, there's malt nose to it, but also, I know it sounds weird, it's like a soapy malt, but it's a malt nose nonetheless. Let's get in and taste it. Okay, so carbonation wise, I'd say it's medium. It's there, it's not overpowering, good carbonation, slight drying elements to it again, like B, but the drying elements are not huge. So it's a light drying element. Unfortunately for me, there's no malt flavors. It's the term, as I've used many a time, clean. But it's clean in the sense that there's not really much to it. So there's no complexities. So if you drink with your nose, then maybe that will work. But otherwise, it's lacking slightly. So it's clean, but it's slightly lacking. On to D. D is darker than the first three. So we are going towards the golden spectrum on this one. Oh, wow. Okay. I wasn't expecting that either. So that one surprised me with the nose with how it was. But this is, wow. There's a lot of hop citrus in this. Yeah, this has got like lemon and orange notes coming out of it. Now, some might not like that, but that's intriguing me straight away. I've got to go in for a sip. Oh, yeah. I don't know now. Big lemon and citrus notes on that. Wow. Yeah, the nose captures entirely what it is. That is lemon and citrus. I wouldn't really. I mean, I guess there's a slight lager note to it. I was just going to say, I wouldn't really have, if you gift that to me, I wouldn't have said that's a lager. But yeah, it does have the lager into it. So that is completely different than the others. Lemon, orange. Lemon is quite powerful on the taste. Carbonation is medium to low. Body is quite thin, I would say, but the flavor makes up for that. It definitely stands out. Yeah, interesting. On to E. E is one of the darker beers that we've had. This is looking like it's moving towards like a Vienna lager. That is, golden to amber. Definitely one of the darker beers that we've had. On this, nose-wise, there's a very crisp malt nose coming off that, but it's ever so delicate. Other words, it's quite clean on the nose. I'm hoping the flavour is a bigger punch on the malt. The darker the beer is, the more malt I'm expecting. I know that's not a correlation that I should be expecting, but let's go in and taste it. Yep. That is a big malt flavour. Very big malt flavour. Carbonation was medium, decent carbonation on that. It let that malt flavour roll over the tongue. Body is, I would say, one of the bigger bodies that I've had out of the 95 so far. It also has, it leaves a residue behind. There's I can feel malt in my mouth. I can feel the malty flavour there. Yeah. I wouldn't say quenches a first, because you're going to need to keep drinking this because it leaves like a cloyiness behind. But it's a nice flavour. One of the more flavorful beers that I've had. I keep saying beer, should say lager. It's one of the more flavorful lagers I had. Yeah, that is a decent penultimate beer. And now, I'm hoping it's not a cruel fate, the final beer of the 96. All right, beer 96. We're looking at F over here. It is the exact color we'll be expecting. It is that pale straw color that we're looking for. It has a decent head that it's managed to keep, considering going through. Carbonation rolling up due to the glass. Nose-wise, Euro lager straight away on the nose. It's a malt with a sweetness on the end of it. All right, let's get in for a taste. Yes, the malt's there, but like I've said on previous reviews, there's a malt there, but there's a bit of wet cardboard coming in, unfortunately. It's, yeah, and when I smell it now, it's not as inviting as it was when I first smelt it. Bit of a disappointing one to finish on. Would have been better to finish on maybe that one, or that, or that. I don't know. I am now going to do what I've done the previous times, run through the beers, and come back to you with my top two. Okay, I've gone through and tasted them all again, and my mind is slightly changing from what I thought I was going to choose. I think I know what my number one is. My number two was a toss-up between B and D. I originally thought I was going to go D, but on second tasting, it's a bit over the top, I feel. The nose is too, I say, lemon on it. And then taste-wise, it's got a bit of a kick on the back of it, which I'm not sure if I could actually session and drink that. Whereas B here, I'm going to have to quickly cleanse my palate before I go into that. As I was saying, B here has a similar sort of, as a citrus nose, not a lemon nose. And I just feel like there's a bit more overall on it. The body is slightly not there. I'm not saying body's not there. I mean, the body is not a full body. It's low to medium, as I said. Carbonation doesn't really exist, but it's actually kind of good. The nose, the flavor that it leaves at the end. It's a weird one, but yeah, I've talked myself into it, and you've seen talk yourself into it. Second place going through is B here. That's going through. Unfortunately, D was a close call. I feel like I should have actually made sort of a few places for runner-ups or wild cards, I should have said, that I could put through, especially when you got bad groups. I could have sent through some of the better ones that I feel like going to miss out because of the draw. And then it comes to the final one to go through to the next round. I don't think it'll be much of a surprise, actually, based on the fact that it was between these B and D for second place. First place, for me, goes to E. Good body, good malt, good nose, good flavour. It won all round for me on that. And be interesting to see how that sticks out. The only concerning thing is obviously the darker colour, stands out more. Blind taste testing, should I be entirely blind? I feel that colour, nose all play a part. Does colour play a part? Probably not, actually. but I'm not doing blindfolded. I've been missing and knocking them all over. Okay, I'm rambling now. That's the end of round 1. On to round 2.